There are seasons in life when it feels as though everything you built has disappeared. The people you trusted are gone, the opportunities you prayed for never came, the plans you carefully made fell apart. Maybe you lost money, a relationship, a career, your confidence, your peace, or simply the version of yourself you used to recognize. And when loss comes, one thing becomes very difficult to believe, that something good could ever come after it. But if you are listening to this right now, I want you to hear this with an open heart. Your loss is not necessarily the end of your story. What you lost may have changed you, but it does not have to define you. God is not limited by what you lost. He is not intimidated by the years that disappeared. He is not confused by the doors that closed. And He does not need the same circumstances you had before in order to bless you again. Sometimes God allows a season to empty your hands because He is preparing you to receive something you could not have carried before. You may look at your life and see ruins. God may see foundations. You may see a chapter that ended. God may see the beginning of another one. You may see everything you lost. God may be looking at everything you are becoming. And perhaps that is the hardest lesson of all. Restoration does not always mean getting your old life back. Sometimes restoration means God gives you something deeper, wiser, stronger, and more aligned with who you were always meant to become. There are things you once begged God to keep that today you should be grateful He removed. There were people you thought you could never live without who would have prevented you from becoming the person you needed to become. There were doors you desperately wanted opened that would have taken you somewhere you were never supposed to stay. There were opportunities you thought were missed forever that may have simply been replaced by opportunities that fit the person you are becoming. So do not measure God's faithfulness only by what remains in your hands. Sometimes His faithfulness is revealed in what He allowed to leave. Think about your own journey. There were moments when you thought you were finished. Moments when you looked at your life and could not understand how you were going to rebuild. Maybe everyone around you seemed to be moving forward while you felt trapped in the same painful chapter. But you are still here. That matters. You survived days you once thought you could never survive. You made it through nights when your mind would not stop racing. You walked through disappointment, rejection, loneliness, confusion, and uncertainty. And somehow you kept going. Maybe you are currently in your own pit. Maybe you are in that uncomfortable space between what you lost and what has not yet arrived. And that space can be terrifying because you don't have the old life anymore, but you cannot yet see the new one. You pray, but you don't see immediate results. You keep moving, but you don't know where the road is going. You wake up every morning carrying memories of what used to be. But listen carefully. The absence of visible change does not mean God is absent. There are things happening beneath the surface that you cannot see. A seed does not look like a tree while it is underground. A foundation does not look like a finished house. A sunrise begins before the darkness disappears, and your restoration may have already begun in ways that are invisible to you. Maybe God is restoring your mind before He restores your circumstances. Maybe He is restoring your confidence before He restores your opportunities. Maybe He is restoring your character before He restores your opportunities. Maybe He is restoring your character before He restores your influence. Maybe He is teaching you how to recognize what is healthy before He brings healthy people into your life. Maybe He is teaching you patience because your next season will require endurance. Maybe He is teaching you discipline because the blessing you are asking for will require responsibility. You keep asking God, when will you give it back? And perhaps God is asking, who will you become when I give you something new? Because restoration without transformation can take you right back to the same place. God does not merely want to return what was lost. He wants to transform the person who experienced the loss. That is why you should not despise this season. It hurts, yes. It is lonely sometimes. There are nights when you question everything. There are mornings when you have to force yourself to believe again. But there is something happening inside you that comfort could never have produced. You are learning how to stand without applause. You are learning how to keep moving without immediate answers. You are learning how to continue when nobody understands. You are learning that your identity cannot depend entirely on what you possess. And that lesson is priceless. Because if your identity depends on your possessions, then every loss can destroy you. But when your identity is rooted in God, you can lose something without losing yourself. You can lose a relationship without losing your capacity to love. You can lose money without losing your ability to rebuild. You can lose an opportunity without losing your purpose. You can lose your position without losing your calling. You can lose people without losing God. And sometimes the thing you thought broke you was actually the thing that revealed how strong God had been making you all along. There is something else you need to understand. God's restoration may not look like getting your old life back. It may look completely different. Maybe you once prayed for one specific person to stay, but God eventually teaches you that peace is more valuable than forcing someone to remain. Maybe you once wanted one specific career, but losing that position pushes you towards something that fits your gifts better. Maybe you once measured success by money, status, or recognition, but after losing those things, you discover that peace, purpose, and meaningful relationships matter far more. Sometimes restoration does not return the exact thing you lost. Sometimes restoration gives you something better suited to the person you have become. So stop asking God to recreate yesterday. Ask Him to guide you into tomorrow, because there is a future you have not seen yet. There are mornings you have not woken up to. There are conversations you have not had. There are opportunities you have not encountered. There are people you have not met. There are ideas you have not discovered. There are versions of yourself you have not yet become. Your current situation does not contain the entire picture. Do not make permanent conclusions from temporary pain. You have cried enough over what happened. Now begin preparing for what comes next. Forgive where you need to forgive. Release what you cannot control. Stop chasing people who have already decided to walk away. Stop begging for doors God may have intentionally closed. Stop replaying conversations that cannot be changed. Stop punishing yourself for decisions you made with the understanding you had at that time. You are allowed to learn. You are allowed to grow. You are allowed to become different. You are allowed to start again. And most importantly, you are allowed to believe that God can still do something beautiful with your life. Think about the years you believe you wasted. Maybe you look back and think, if only I had started earlier. If only I had made better decisions. If only I had trusted the right people. If only I had not wasted those years. But you cannot go back, and perhaps you were never meant to. You cannot change yesterday, but you can change what yesterday means. The years you thought were wasted may have produced wisdom. The heartbreak may have produced discernment. The failure may have produced humility. The rejection may have taught you to stop seeking validation from people who could never give you what you needed. The loneliness may have introduced you to yourself. The struggle may have revealed a strength you never knew existed. Those years were painful, but they were not necessarily pointless. Some lessons only arrive through experience. Some strength only develops through pressure. Some clarity only comes after disappointment. And some doors only become visible after the wrong ones close. So perhaps you have not been buried. Perhaps you have been planted. There is a difference. A seed goes into darkness before it rises into light. And if you are in a dark season, do not assume nothing is happening. Something may be developing. Something may be taking root. Something may be preparing to break through. Your responsibility is not to understand every detail. Your responsibility is to remain faithful with the season you are in. If you have little, be faithful with little. If you have one opportunity, honor it. If you have one person who still believes in you, appreciate them. If you have breath in your lungs, thank God. If you have another morning, use it. If you have another chance, take it. You do not need everything restored today. You only need enough faith to take the next step. And maybe your next step is very simple. Get out of bed, pray, work, learn, forgive, exercise, read, build, apply, create, try again. Do not wait until you feel powerful. Move while you are still healing. You can be wounded and still move forward. You can be afraid and still obey. You can be uncertain and still take the next step. Faith is not always the absence of fear. Sometimes faith is simply refusing to let fear make your decisions. There is another truth you need to understand. Restoration often begins on the inside before it becomes visible on the outside. Maybe one morning you wake up and realize you are no longer thinking about the person who left. One day you notice you are no longer angry about the opportunity you lost. One evening you realize you can remember the past without wanting to return to it. That is restoration. When you stop needing an apology to move forward, that is restoration. When you stop comparing your life to someone else's, that is restoration. When you begin trusting yourself again, that is restoration. When you can finally say, I don't understand what happened, but I am going to keep trusting God, that is restoration. And then sometimes the external restoration begins. A new opportunity, a new relationship, a new idea, a new business, a new career. a new community, a new purpose, a new version of yourself. But this time, you are different. You no longer chase everything that shines. You no longer confuse attention with love. You no longer confuse money with success. You no longer confuse popularity with purpose. You no longer sacrifice your peace just to keep people around. You become selective. You become grounded. You become wiser. And suddenly, the things you once thought you needed no longer control you. That is when you realize God was not simply restoring your circumstances, He was restoring you. So if you have lost everything, do not tell yourself that everything is over. Tell yourself, this is not where my story ends. If you have failed, say, I can learn. If someone left, say, I can heal. If a door closed, say, there may be another door. If your plans collapsed, say, God can redirect me. If you feel forgotten, say, I am still seen. If you feel behind, say, my timeline is not the measure of my worth. And if you are exhausted, say, I will rest, but I will not quit. Because there is a difference between surrendering your plans to God and surrendering your hope. Give God your plans. Give God your timeline. Give God your expectations. Give God your disappointment. But do not throw away your hope. Your night may have been long, but morning is still possible. And perhaps you have been staring at the darkness for so long that you forgot what morning feels like. But God has not forgotten. You may not know when the morning comes. You may not know what it will look like. You may not know what God is arranging behind the scenes. But you can choose to believe that your present pain is not proof of a permanently painful future. You are still breathing. You are still here. You are still capable of changing. You are still capable of loving. You are still capable of building. You are still capable of serving. You are still capable of becoming. That means there is still something ahead. So today, stop carrying the weight of a life that no longer exists. Release the old version. Release the old expectations. Release the need to understand everything and place your future in God's hands. Say this from your heart. God, I lost things I thought I would never lose. I lost people I thought would always be there. I lost opportunities I thought would change my life. I lost seasons I cannot get back, but I refuse to believe that my story ends with what I lost. Restore my heart, restore my faith, restore my strength, restore my vision, and if you choose to give me something new, make me wise enough to recognize it and strong enough to carry it. Let that be your prayer. Not God make everything exactly as it was, but God make everything what it needs to become, because your future does not have to look like your past. Your next chapter does not have to resemble the previous one. And the person you become after this season may surprise you. One day you may look back at this painful period and realize that the season you begged God to end was the season that prepared you for everything you prayed for. You will understand why certain people had to leave. You will understand why certain doors remained closed. You will understand why certain plans failed. You will understand why some things did not happen when you wanted them to. And perhaps you will say, now I understand. You were protecting me while I thought you were disappointing me. So hold on. Not because life will always be easy. Hold on because your story is not finished. Keep praying, keep working, keep learning, keep becoming, keep trusting. And when you cannot see the whole road, take the next step. You lost something. Yes. You were hurt. Yes. You went through a season that changed you. Yes, but you are still here, and sometimes the greatest evidence that God is not finished with you is simply the fact that you still have the desire to begin again. There is still fire in you. There is still purpose in you. There is still something worth building. There is still something worth becoming. So lift your head, dry your tears, take a breath, look forward. The past may have taken something from you, but it does not have permission to take your future. God can restore what you thought was permanently broken. He can breathe life into places that became dry. He can give you peace where there was confusion. He can give you wisdom where there was regret. He can give you strength where there was weakness. And He can take the fragments of a life that feels shattered and build something meaningful from them. You may have lost everything you thought you needed, but you have not lost the possibility of a new beginning. And maybe that is where your restoration starts. Not when everything changes around you, but when something changes inside you. Today, choose hope again, choose faith again, choose courage again, choose to believe that the chapter you are living right now is not the final chapter. You lost something, but you are not lost. You experienced failure, but you are not a failure. You experienced rejection, but you are not rejected by God. You experienced delay, but your life is not delayed forever. You experienced loss, but your ability to begin again remains. And as long as you can begin again, there is still a future worth fighting for. So walk forward, slowly if you have to, with tears if necessary, with questions, with uncertainty. But walk forward, because the same God who carried you through what you thought would destroy you can carry you into what you never imagined possible. You lost everything, but God is restoring you now. Not merely your possessions, not merely your circumstances, but your heart, your courage, your faith, your vision, your purpose, your peace. And perhaps when restoration finally arrives, you will realize something beautiful. God did not bring you back to who you were. He brought you forward into who you were meant to become.